Hello, everyone. Coming at you today with an unedited video to explain my views on the importance of digging into past experiences and traumas in resolving chronic dizziness. And this is somewhat of a contentious subject because different people in the mind-body world have different views of how much this needs to be done. You'll hear some people say you have to dig into and resolve everything that's ever happened to you. And then you'll hear other people say, just focus on the here and now. And I'm going to share my views, but I want to be clear about one very important thing first. While these differences of opinion exist, our bottom line for treating psychophysiological disorders, including chronic dizziness, chronic pain, fibromyalgia, migraines, IBS, and all other medically unexplained chronic symptoms, is that the treatment at its core is reducing danger mode in the brain. It's danger mode that keeps the symptoms going, and reducing danger mode is going to help the symptoms go away. So that's the bottom line. Now, how you achieve that reduction in danger mode is where the nuances come in and where different approaches are really helpful. I see people who just need the information in order to turn down danger mode. They watch a few of my videos, they read a couple books, and they say, wow, I get it now. As crazy and awful as my symptoms are, this is coming from my nervous system, and danger mode turns down, and therefore their symptoms turn down too. And you'll see this across some of the comments in my YouTube channel, that people will just watch a video and physically feel better because they feel more safe. In other words, physiologically, their nervous system is turning down danger mode, and that leads to a reduction in symptoms. So that's very real. And for some people, all that's needed is education and understanding. For some people, they need some more specific guidance, and there are some relaxation techniques, there are some cognitive techniques that people can use to, in the here and now, turn down danger mode. But what I have found in my work with my one-on-one clients is that those techniques aren't enough for some. And I think this may be not just for people with chronic dizziness, but more likely to happen with dizziness versus some of these other symptoms, because dizziness is so closely tied to our fight or flight response. And it's normal, it's completely normal to absolutely panic and feel very out of sorts when you have dizziness symptoms. So sometimes that danger response is so high and it's so deep that just understanding or practicing here and now type of techniques just isn't enough to help people feel better. So from my perspective, working with clients, seeing your comments on my YouTube channel, seeing a lot of people via my membership community, I feel that digging into the past is really important for people for whom that here and now type of strategy is not working. And here's why I think it's so valuable. So we've talked about the stress bucket in previous videos. And to remind you, I will, of course, link to a video below where I go into more detail. The stress bucket is basically a metaphor for all the stress that goes into you over your lifetime right now. So it can be having fights with your partner, it could be stress from work, it could be just kind of the usual commute home from work or school. And that stuff is part of the story. But while that stuff, as it piles up, it leads your bucket to overflow and causes danger mode and therefore symptoms, what's happening here and now actually really isn't the whole story, at least not for some of you. For some of you, your reactions in the here and now to your symptoms and your reactions in the here and now to what's happening in your life is the whole story. But for many of us, the reactions that we have to current events right now were programmed long ago. So, in other words, the amount of stress we have on the inside from stressful experiences right now is determined by what happened to us in our childhoods or early adulthoods. So, what that means is that in order to reduce the stress bucket, it's not just about reducing stress right now, it's not just about reducing fear right now, it's also untangling why you are reacting the way that you are right now to the things right now. And the only way to unravel that and really trace back what happened and therefore to rewrite those patterns and change them is to really understand where they're coming from. An example of this would be something like people pleasing. So some of us were born just more conscientious than others, it's true, but at least some of that tendency to people please comes from experiences in childhood. And when we have a tendency or a strong need to people please, when it's coming from deep inside us from long past experiences, it is way harder to turn that off. And we know people pleasing does lead to more stress right now, because if you take two identical people who are tasked with something at work, exactly the same job, exactly the same role, the people pleaser is going to feel more stress. That person's going to feel more pressure to perform. So it is a component of stress right now, but it's not always so easy as saying, well, I'm just not going to people please anymore. For some people it is, and if you're able to do that, great. But for some people, we really need to dig back into the roots of where that whole pattern started in order to untangle it and create a new pattern. And that's what I often will do with my one-on-one clients. I focus on the here and now and reactions to symptoms and the things that are contributing to your stress bucket. But the answers to how to diffuse those or change those often lies in our interpretation of past experiences. So I think that's really worth doing. And this may sound very complicated to you. And it's true that a lot of people do need one-on-one help, or at least help in a group to try to untangle this stuff. But it doesn't have to be super complicated for everyone. It can be as simple as journaling. And this is why I'm such a proponent of using that method to try to dig back into your past experiences and understand what got you here. Because from my perspective, if you don't know what got you here, then you can get better if you turn down danger mode, but you're still set up for future issues potentially, right? So again, I think that's important, but I also want to differentiate that from thinking that somehow rehashing and reprocessing and revisiting all your old traumas is somehow going to magically turn off a switch that's going to make your symptoms go away. It's not about necessarily reprocessing and releasing trauma from the body. It's about understanding how our past experiences lead to the patterns that we have right now that are increasing our stress. And when our stress is increased and our stress bucket is full, that's when we explode into fight or flight mode and end up with symptoms. So I hope this clarification was helpful for you guys. And if you have questions or comments about this, of course, please drop them below. I want to just remind you that the only real requirement to get better from your chronic dizziness symptoms is to turn down fear mode, danger mode, etc. But please know that it's okay if just hearing this message doesn't actually make you feel safer in your body. For some people, you do have to do a little bit more work. So of course, if you like this video, please like it, please share, and of course, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.